It started with the lock. No big event, no flash of light. One morning, Evan Wren simply couldn't open the door to his apartment. Room 403. He turned the knob like always, ready to step into the hallway for his coffee run. But the latch wouldn't budge. He jiggled it, yanked it, pulled it. Nothing. The bolt didn't feel stuck. It felt intentional, like it had always been meant to stay shut. Evan wasn't a social guy, the type of person who could go weeks without seeing another soul and call it a productive month. That made it easy to rationalize things at first. Maybe the super was doing maintenance. Maybe the lock jammed from disuse. He even convinced himself the building was just old. But then the windows sealed shut. By day 3, Evan had tried everything. Screwdrivers, brute force, even smashing at the hinges. Nothing worked. The window didn't break. The glass just rippled and stayed whole. His phone showed no bars. The TV played static. The landline, when lifted, hissed like a deep sea vent. He stopped sleeping on day 5. Not because of fear, but because of the noises. Whispers. Not outside the door, but inside the room. In the walls, under the floor, behind the mirror in the bathroom. He'd catch them in snatches, voices speaking his name, or looping back memories he hadn't thought about in years. Things he tried to forget. Why did you leave her? You knew she needed help. You knew she needed help. The apartment changed. First slowly, then not all that subtly. The wallpaper began peeling itself away, revealing something pulsing underneath, like veins on raw skin. Mold grew in patches that looked like faces mid-scream. Furniture moved when his back was turned. The refrigerator hummed lullabies in a voice that sounded like his mother's. Every door inside the apartment now led to something different. The bathroom opened into a childhood classroom filled with dolls with bleeding eyes. The closet revealed a burned-down hallway that smelled like hair and oil. One night he opened the pantry and found a version of himself hanging by the neck, slowly swinging. He started writing notes to himself to track what was real, but the notes changed when he wasn't looking. On day 10, the intercom buzzed for the first time.
"Room service,"
said a dry, static-ridden voice. Evan approached the door. There was no peephole anymore, just a fleshy knot where it had been, twitching slightly. He put his hand on the knob. It turned. The door opened. Outside, there was no longer a hallway. It was a long tunnel, walls made of rusted metal and dripping concrete, lit by a flickering red bulb at the far end. The voice over the intercom spoke again, right next to his ear this time.
"Confession is key."
Evan didn't know what that meant. Or maybe he did. Maybe the room had always known what he was hiding. He stepped into the tunnel. Behind him, room 403 closed on its own. The bolt slid shut, and the whispering began again. The tunnel swallowed him. The red light ahead pulsed like a heartbeat, and with every flicker, the world around Evan changed. First, the walls became lined with photos, framed memories from his life. His mother's face, smiling weakly from a hospice bed. His ex-girlfriend, asleep beside a bottle of pills. A childhood friend, gone without explanation. All the people he had left behind. The photos watched him. He tried to turn back, but the tunnel had vanished behind him. Just more darkness. More dripping. More whispers that matched his own internal monologue, only a few seconds ahead, predicting his thoughts. He passed through another door, iron and heavy. It led back to his apartment, but it was wrong. The layout had shifted. The furniture was burned. The air smelled like hospital disinfectant and iron. A figure sat at the kitchen table, its head wrapped in gauze, bleaking something thick and black. Evan stepped closer. It was him, or a version of him. Eyes removed, mouth sewn shut, wrists slit and bound in tape. The figure raised a hand and pointed to the wall, where a new message was scrawled in black mold. You don't get to leave until you tell the truth. Memories hit him like a fever. He avoided the funeral. He ignored the voicemails. He lied, first to others, then to himself. Told people she was fine. Said they'd broken up. Said she was just going through something. She needed him, and he stayed home. Evan screamed at the figure, threw a chair, tried to claw the door open, but every time he blinked, he was back at the start. The same room, the same copy of himself, the same message on the wall. This wasn't a haunting. It was a loop, a sentence, and deep down he knew he hadn't reached the worst part yet. The room wasn't trying to kill him. It was trying to make him remember. Evan blinked his eyes, and the walls began to breathe. Not metaphorically, literally. Wet, shuddering gulps of air, in and out, like the entire building had lungs. The floor pulsed under Evan's bare feet, every step left behind a red print that steamed as it cooled. There was no furniture anymore, no doors, just a long vertical slit in the wall, twitching. It looked like an eye, or a wound, or a birth canal. He didn't want to go in, but he did. That was the worst part. He moved toward it like he was being pulled, not by gravity, but by guilt. His skin crawled, his ears rang. The sound of static was louder now, mixed with wet chewing and whispering and dozens of voices, many of them his own. He stepped through, and the world flipped. He was now in a room huge, cathedral-like, its walls fleshy and covered in carvings. They weren't symbols, they were memories. Scenes etched in quivering tissue. Him as a child watching his parents fight. His mother crying over dishes. Him in high school, ignoring a text that read, "Please don't leave me alone tonight." The floor was covered in teeth. Human, animal, some fused together into spirals. They crunched underfoot. In the center of the room stood a figure made of doors. Wooden slabs slammed together in a shifting humanoid shape. Doorknobs spun in its chest. Hinges creaked as it moved. Each door opened to a scene from Evan's life. Only they were wrong. Distorted. One door showed him smiling as his girlfriend overdosed behind him, ignored on the bed. Another played a loop of his mother begging him to stay while he walked out holding headphones over his ears. A third door just opened onto a mirror, but his reflection had no eyes. The door thing spoke with dozens of overlapping voices. Do you want to be forgiven? Evan shook. He couldn't speak. His mouth was full of hair. He pulled it out, choking, gagging. A long black tangle. It kept coming. Handfuls, rope-like, endless. The voice laughed.
Confession is not absolution.
The floor dropped, and he fell into black. He woke in room 403, Same spot, same clothes. Only now the door was wide open, leading into nothing but stars and spinning black holes that whispered like insects. Cosmic patterns moved behind the walls. The television showed his brain scan. The bathroom mirror displayed a timer, counting down. Evan finally understood. He wasn't trapped in the room. He was the room. It grew from him, fed on him, reflected him. And when it was done, when it had learned everything, it would find someone new. The front door to the apartment slammed shut, immediately followed by 3 knocks. Room 403 was hungry again.